Hello, fellow Shield Brothers. Shield Brothers 6 here with a special day. Usually I only record for Thursdays, but today is a special recording because on this day, November 25th in 1918, is the day that the Germans finally surrendered. 2 weeks after the armistice was signed, Colonel Paul von Little-Vorbeck of Germany finally surrendered his forces in East Africa. He was a master of guerrilla warfare, known for his brave and honorable conduct. He was the only undefeated military commander on either side of the war throughout the entire thing. He knew that he wouldn't be getting any reinforcements from Germany due to how great and how widespread the British Army and Navy was, so he controlled them on his own initiative and took his commands into his own hands due to this, knowing that he would have to act on his own without any incoming commands or reinforcements. But in classic Prussian style, he took his soldiers, called Ascaris, into independent field companies, and he trained them in the skills of bush raiding, bush fighting, and just took them on raids, and they were masterful at this. He was just, the confidence in his troops were just unsurmountable. And then, due to these raids on South Africa, Kenya, Rhodesia, the British didn't know what to do. They didn't know where it was coming from. They didn't know what was happening due to just how skilled they were and how unpredictable they were. His force never extended 14,000, including 3,000 German and 11,000 Ascari troops, the African troops. So that's 14,000. They never had more than 14,000 men, which for that time is pretty small. That's a pretty small force, considering that they were in enemy territory pretty much 100% of the time. But in November 1918, when World War I ended, Little-Vorbeck was still alive and well, with 3,000 soldiers under his command, and he went to surrender in Zambia on November 25th, 1918, returning to Germany, where he was a national hero. And immediately after, he rejoined the Freikorps, the military police force, helping to squelch the radical socialist Spartacus uprising in the early 1919s. But what really astounds me is that this man held out for 2 weeks with a small force of 3,000 men and went and marched into enemy territory and did an honorable surrender. That's just mind-blowing. It shows how warfare used to be so much different, and how the commanders used to be so much different, and how there was so much more honor involved. And not to say there's not honor now, but just how warfare was just a completely different idea back then. It was so much different than how it is done now. It's crazy. And his South African rival, his arch enemy, paid him a small pension every year until his death on March 9th, 1964. And due to this, and just what an insane history day it is, and how for the Germans and for him it was just a crazy day, I decided I would record this video on November 25th, almost 100 years later, 99 years later. So that was today's special history lesson. I hope you enjoyed. As always, leave a like if you enjoy the content. If not, please leave a dislike.